I just got a dog recently.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of your dog. Your
I
dog's
wanted
really
a
cute.
dog a long time ago, and then I figured this decade is ending, and I still don't have a dog. Let's get one, and we got one. Little baby, Bibby Babbis, also known as DeBabbis, D''Babbis. His name is DeBabbis, and
That's very cute.
I'm gonna tell you what, he's a goddamn true friend.
Dogs are the best.
He's a real. Did you know that? And I've come close to scientifically proving this now, because I've been alone with the dog for 4 days. We've had the dog for 2 months. I've been alone with the dog, and I have scientifically proven, almost, that the dog does not consider me his owner or his master. He thinks of me as his friend.
How did you prove this?
This is like a whole nother hour's worth of conversation.
Can people do this at home?
So let me know. Let me know in the chat if you'd like me to start my own podcast. I should. People keep telling me to start a podcast. I don't even know what you're supposed to do.
This.
You just put it on the
record.
internet.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, you just talk to people. You record it. You sometimes have a theme.
See, I don't know if I would see. The weird thing is, I don't know about listening to it. I don't know if anybody would want to listen to. I wouldn't want to listen to the stuff that I would want to talk about. Does that make sense?
Well, let's see.
I mean,
Tell us
I
what
feel
happened with
there's
your dog,
always
and we'll see.
Yeah, there's always someone out there. I feel like.
Oh, it's a complicated, nebulous thing. I would have to research my own thoughts. I would have to introspect a little bit. He's a creature of a breed which was manufactured via careful genetic manipulation by rich women in 19th century England. His entire species is a sham that was created for the purpose of huggability, loyalty, and amusement. And he's a tiny comedy factory. Behaves with the ancient nature of a wolf, presents himself as some majestic beast. He's a goddamn Pomeranian. He is 7 inches tall, 3.8 pounds. Yet he acts like a goddamn wolf on Game of Thrones with this utterly serious expression on his face. He has this collection of little toys that he's collected various objects and claimed them for his own. The silicone shower drain, microfiber cloth I had been using to clean my glasses, of which I have 20 replacements, so I let him keep it. Straps, 2 straps from a pair of shoes I was about to throw away that he liked. Little stuffed Waluigi I bought him. He's been ripping it to shreds slowly.
Whoa, that's sad.
A little toy shaped like a pizza, a slice of pizza that I bought at Target for $3.99, which is a good deal, turns out, because the amusement is quite high with that. He has this pile of things that when I let him out of the bedroom, he just carries them one at a time together. He carries them one at a time. And he was having trouble eating his food. So I've been thinking like a game designer with this dog, because we keep him locked up in a cage when we go to bed because, you don't want him to get into stuff. So I level designed the bedroom so that there's no way for him to get into any stuff, which wasn't, it was a Mario Maker 1, day 1 level of level design where it's just like I'm able to keep some stuff out of his reach and I'm able to gate some stuff. And, it actually resulted in better cable flow for the cords and outlets in the room. And then I'm in the middle doing the same thing to the living room. Though right now he's alone in the bedroom, and I'm going to go home and see how he's doing. He's been in there for about 10 hours, but he should be okay because it's a pretty spacious room for Brooklyn. Because we live in the part of Brooklyn where you can get a spacious room. And I'm going to finish up that living room. So I've been level designing it. Though we've been having trouble getting him to eat his food. So and sometimes we will have to sit down and spoon him the food, give him the food with a spoon, and he'll eat it off the spoon just fine, right? And we've been experimenting with various recipes. So right now he's eating this chicken, rice, carrot blend, where it's just chicken, rice, and carrots. It's like human food, right? And into which I put a little bit of yogurt and a little bit of Whole Foods organic canned pumpkin, and so all good stuff for a dog to eat. It's very healthy. It's like human food, except obviously it would be way too bland for a human because there's no spices on it because Can't give a dog spices. So sometimes he doesn't eat. And we've been sitting down, and you got to spoon feed him the food, like one spoonful at a time, because it becomes like fun for him if you're spoon feeding it to him. And I think that means he thinks it's fun, right? So I have been in the morning, I started doing an experiment. Like, he wouldn't eat his food. And rather than spoon feed him, I sit down on the floor next to his food and I eat my food. And I have successfully gotten him to eat all of his food, 8 meals in a row, simply by sitting next to him and eating my food while he eats his. And I gave him, we have these little cookies that I got at Wegmans, little peanut butter cookies for dogs. And I give him one by his food bowl when he finishes his dinner. And then I go sit down on the sofa, to watch some TV. And he gets the cookie and then comes running over and sits next to me and eats the cookie. He will not eat the cookie unless he's sitting next to me when he eats it. So this little beast wants 2 things in the world. 2 things. He wants treats, and I can sympathize with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love a treat. He loves nothing in the world as much as, much less more than, peanut butter and cheese. And that's a double heck yeah, as far as I'm concerned. That's peanut butter and cheese. He can't have all cheeses, but he can have a lot of cheese varieties. It depends on like what spices are in the cheese. So I'm sure to give him the correct cheese. Kraft Mexican cheese he can have. It has like cheddar and something or whatever it's got in there. I looked it up on the internet. It's a proper cheese for a proper Pomeranian to have. So he loves treats. That's the one thing he loves. He loves to lick the condensation off of an ice cold can of Coca-Cola Zero. He loves ice cubes. I give him an ice cube and he picks it up and carries it from his. He always carries the ice cube back to his bed in his cage in the bedroom and then eats it in front of his bed. And he just sits there crunching it like a wood chipper, just crunching this thing. So the ice cubes he eats by himself. The peanut butter cookies he eats with me, which is weird. So there's that. That's one thing. And the other thing he wants, and this is the harder one to vocally sympathize with, though this is the more profound one in my opinion, is so number 1, he wants treats. Number 2, he just wants to be as close as possible to his friends. And to the point of, if you put him in the house and you close the door and you stand in the hall, you need to only wait for 5 seconds before he begins howling like Bambi's mom died or whatever, just screaming. He just screams with this complete, objectively recognizable sadness on this dog because he's alone. He doesn't want to be alone. And he barked at the landlord the other day, so he doesn't like everybody. He barked repeatedly. And it's like, again, this is phenomena that dog owners have been remarking upon for decades and centuries, right? Well, my dog barks at people he doesn't like. It's like, I mean, I'm more interested in the behavior he shows to people he does like. And I guess he does like me. And it's nice. And I mean, it gets talked about a lot. I mean, you can't throw a rock on the internet without hitting somebody who's talking about how much they love their precious dog or whatever. And I mean, sure, it's an overplayed conversation, though. I feel experiencing it firsthand. I've always wanted a dog. We had cats when I was a kid, and cats are boring.
Whoa.
I mean,
I
to me,
grew up
they're
with cats
boring.
and I loved my cats, but I also had like
To me,
fun
they're boring.
cats.
Oh, well, fun
But
cats
I
are fun.
I also want a dog really
I've
bad.
known a
I
couple
never had
cats
one.
who will like tussle with you and they'll like hang out with you. But
that's how my cats were. They're just like,
my little dog is
Troublemakers.
wherever I go, he runs after me. And if I sit down, he jumps up and sits next to me. And when I get home, the explosively ecstatic gratitude on his face for the fact that I just showed up. It's like he hasn't seen me in 20 years and he's just freaking out. And it's like I could go outside to take the trash out. And there's a threshold. I have to be gone for a certain number of minutes before the the explosiveness, the happiness, like completely recharges. Though it's just seeing that, and it's a cheap trick, you know. It's a cheap thrill for me. Maybe it's a big deal for him. And you know, you look at him sometimes and you just feel sad that there's something this simple and honest in the world. Just superhuman in his honesty. A human can't be as honest as that dog. You know, we say dogs are loyal and they're man's best friend or whatever. Though I see it as just kind of something darker and older, that he's just more honest and he's more real. And it's maybe it's because of the wordlessness. Maybe it's because of the fact that he's got these ancient genes, or maybe it's the pity I feel due to his manufactured nature, that he was engineered to be smaller. Did you know that Pomeranians shrunk in size by 66% during the reign of Queen Victoria? It's
Oh my
true.
God.
Yeah,
That's
breeders
horrifying. Ugh.
breeders really they made a dog. They made a type of dog based on an ideal, and it's a little weird, and you look at him and you're just like, what is the ethical way? what is the ethical way to non-psychopathically own this animal? I've joked in the past that owning a pet is kind of an act of sociopathy. You just want to own something, and it's like, yeah, sure, I just realize he doesn't think that I own him. He thinks I'm his friend, and the best thing I can do is just be nice to him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Show him respect. Not just, this goes beyond like, don't be cruel to him, or, you know, I mean, show him respect, you know? And that's why I'm saying he's a true friend. He's my true friend, you know? And that's good. My little buddy, my tiny buddy, my luxury gremlin, my luxury goblin, my little cinnamon snow gremlin. He's a wonderful
They do
creature.
kind of like, they're like gremlins with just very small faces, you know? Just-
Yeah, like a kobold. he's just a wonderful little creature, man.
Yeah.
He's just fantastic.
Yeah.
I just love it. But yeah, I'm just gonna be nice to him and give him some
Be the
good
friend
food.
he needs, you know? Be the friend he wants.
Don't let him be afraid or ashamed or worried about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure he chills. Because sometimes you look at the serious look on his face and you're like, what god darn like ceaseless terror is going on in his brain? This inherited ancient primordial collective fear of death that's just coursing through him at all times, that he doesn't need it. He's in an environment where he does not need that. And you know, you can tell when he's having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you kind of want him to just have a good time all the time. Though I know that like right now that fear is kind of creeping back in him. And he probably wants to go out into the living room and see what's up out there. Patrol out there. You know, he wants to patrol.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do. And he will patrol in about 35 minutes when I get home, because we're going to end this in about 1 minute, right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
One. Okay.
That's my dog. That's the story of my dog. Let me know in the chat if you would like a podcast of stuff like that. That's what I would talk about.
I do. I
Not
want
video games.
I
Did you
will.
listen to that?
Let's do it.
That was
Yeah.
all just
Sure.
that was all off the top of my head.